Michigan basketball is no longer flawless. The transfer portal has had more ups and downs. So we've got a lot to talk about right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Saturday. That is, if your mood is not currently affected by Michigan basketball. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire 3 USA Today Sports Media Group, Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to all of our everydayers. Thank you so much as well to making us your first listen, of course. And we did not do a Friday show with anticipation that we were finally going to get into a little bit more Michigan basketball, and naturally that equated to the Wolverines succumbing to the Wisconsin Badgers 91-88 at Chrisler Center. 14-1 now on the season, still #1 in KenPom and #1 in our hearts. But so we're going to talk about that. We'll get into a little bit of some of those transfer portal people who have entered since our last show. Michigan's trending for another big name. Some of the other names is kind of like, we'll see, right? So there's a lot kind of working out. So we're going to spend one segment on basketball and then 2 on football. That's the plan. We're going to do it on the drive home from Chrisler in the snow. And I think it's a good use of time. That's why we got the mini camera. That's why we got the wireless mics. It's why we got the car mount, so that I can sit here and do the Top Gear, the Grand Tour. You know, be Richard Hammond, not Jeremy Clarkson. I'm not. Yeah, I try to do Jeremy Clarkson. Okay, too much niche comedy that only appeals to me. All right, so kind of a weird game because Michigan felt like, it's like, okay, it's still a little bit trying to find our bearings after narrowly beating Penn State, a game that Michigan was never able to really fully pull away in. Obviously, it became a game late and all that. And it kind of felt like Michigan was like, okay, it's not fully back, but it's still kind of finding its bearings against a pretty good Wisconsin team. Wisconsin exits at 11-5. It's not like it's a bad team here. Ranked, I think, like in the mid-30s on KenPom right now. And it's funny because Michigan took a 14-point lead. It felt like, the same type of thing. You blink and you miss it. It doesn't take much. But then something changed. Wisconsin hit a couple shots, started making some threes. Michigan started kind of floundering on the offensive side. Don't have Elliot Cadeau available because he's got 2 fouls. You've got LJ Kaysen out there, and he's been very good lately as it is. We're not seeing quite as much Axel Lendeborg as well because he got an early foul. And before you knew it, it's like, oh, now it's 6 points. Like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's manageable. But I was actually sitting down on the baseline at Chrisler for the first time since, I think, 2019. Don't hold me to that. If you go and find pictures from more recent and you're like, actually, you were there, okay. To my remembrance, I haven't done photos since it was pre-COVID, and I could feel, because when you're sitting, you sit there on the side that Michigan's coming towards, right? And as you're sitting there, like, because you're on the first half, it's always the same. You're sitting adjacent to the visiting bench, and I could see tangibly how Wisconsin was gaining confidence throughout. You could see it, you could feel it. The game just got so physical. And kind of my feeling of being down there is like, that felt different in general. Just like, even just the Dusty May style felt a lot different being down there compared to the Beeline and Juwan Howard eras. Like it just had a much different feel. It was much more intense, even, offensively. But then you added in the intensity of Wisconsin. Not surprising. Obviously, all those threes that they drained, it's kind of nuts, right? I don't know what the final score or final tally was, but last I looked relatively late in the game, they were 14 of 28. Both teams were hitting 50% from 3 at the same time. The problem for Michigan is they had taken about half as many 3 attempts as Wisconsin. And then once Michigan started trying to attempt more and out of, kind of some necessity, they weren't hitting him. But they were able to stay in the game. Credit to Elliot Cadeau, who once he came back in, he had 17 points in 7 minutes. Like, it was just like an insane, like, it just kind of felt like it was just constant. Anthony Bellino, just constantly, Elliot Cadeau, just over and over and over again. Kind of kept Michigan in it, but obviously defensively, they could not figure out how to get Wisconsin to slow down. They couldn't keep them, right? Like, whether it was the perimeter, it just felt like they were just constantly open. You felt like this giant, gasp every time, they have a wide open person on the perimeter within Chrisler. It just felt like there just was a constant ability for them to just score, right? Like, I can't remember. I was planning on looking beforehand, but I didn't. When was the last time Michigan gave up 91, right? Like, you're used to Michigan, Michigan 100, other teams 60, and with that, Dusty May says after the game, he's like, because he was asked, last 2 games. And he's like, actually, it's been the last 4. This has been a theme that's been going for a little while. Y'all maybe just didn't see it for 2 games, but it's been the last 4. So, but with that, he thinks it's a good thing. He's like, we didn't deserve to win this game, right? Like, we didn't deserve to win it. And practice reflected that this week. Said we had 1 out of 3 practices this week that were good. And that's not enough. And then Wisconsin showed why they deserved to win. He said the more deserving team won. But he said, but that's a good thing because it tells us the intensity that we need to have at any, at all points, right? We have to, this is what we have to be able to do. We have to be able to, like you said, I could see just a little bit of where, okay, we're bringing the intensity we're supposed to. And the moment's we're not. So sometimes you need some humbling lessons. And if the Penn State game didn't do it, then something else had to. And let's face it, we all knew Michigan was going to probably lose. It would have been nice to see wow, undefeated. But sometimes, this is a Bryce Underwood quote. He's like, I learn more from a loss than I do a win. And I think that's generally the case, right? And I think that can be a good thing for this team in particular, that it's not just, we're the mighty Wolverines, we show up, you bow down. Now they know that they can get got. Because it's one thing when you have a close call, but you don't get got. They did this time. And it didn't work out. So that's that. All right, we're going to continue on. We've got to switch gears back into football, and let's go back to me over at the Chrisler Center. Let's go back and hear what I have to say. We'll do that here in just a moment. But before we do, let's talk about something most men don't bring up, absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It doesn't just switch off at night. And here's the thing, it shows up right when you are just least expecting it. Worst possible time. Rougiette Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougiette Ready is a next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so that you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougiette Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You can connect with a board-certified doctor online, and everything ships very discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men already have made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average. So you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. So if you've been thinking about taking that next step, now's the time. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiette Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. All right, if you're confused, if you're an everydayer and you're confused as to when I said that, the ad reads, I did it in Chrisler Center. I did them before getting in the car. But you too could be an everydayer. If you're not, you might be someone who listens to the show every single day. But are you an everydayer in even more of a nominal sense than just that? Because you can join the Everydayer Club. And I'm telling you, you can go ad free. Skip all those pesky ads that we throw up here on this show. You get that. It's on audio, just so you know, just to be clear. Not, video, it's a little bit different. But the most important thing is the Discord access. Now, I haven't been in there today because it's been kind of a wake up and go here. But I certainly will be when I get back and on the couch. But that's where it lives. That's where it thrives. You can be a part of the Discord and ask me whatever crosses your mind, right? Like if you're a fan of this show, then you're going to want to be in there. Guess what? It's only $5 a month or $50 for a year for all of that. And just go to LockedOnWolverines@supercast.com or check the show notes to learn more. Highly recommend it. All right, as we finally get on the expressway to head back to Fenton in snowy Ann Arbor, wintry Ann Arbor, 32 degrees. That's always fun when it's like a rain snow mix and it's 32 degrees. Always a fun time. And we're adding distraction to the mix at the moment. It's also fun. Okay, let's hopefully I can do this without cutting anybody off. We're good. I didn't cut anybody off. All right, so football. It's interesting to watch. Obviously things have just continued to escalate in terms of players going into the portal. Thursday just was like a day that never ended. I didn't, it's like every time like we start talking about like, here's what we feel like the team looks like. Everything changes. It's like, okay, well, they lost Jaden Mangum and they lost Brandyn Hillman and I don't even remember who we covered on the last show because it just felt like guys just kept on entering, particularly in the defensive backfield. But as much as they kept on, guys just kept on, adding like TJ Metcalf. So that's difficult. And it's hard to really kind of figure out what, how do you proceed? Now, here's the good thing. We've already seen that just because guys enter the portal, that doesn't mean they're out, all right? That doesn't mean like, well, they're gone for sure. Like sometimes, if it feels like it's exploratory, like the Cole Sullivan thing, he ends up actually exploring and it actually ends up going that way. So that ends up being kind of disappointing. But, they've managed to get back Zeke Berry. They've managed to get back Jake Guarnera and Andrew Sprague. They never lost Blake Frazier. So, which he was at the game today. So that was good to see him. He and Dan Taraboy and James, I think I saw James, I can't remember his name. Anyway, before I digress, as I'm getting over for the people that want to drive like a crazy people in the weather. All right, so yes, there's a lot that kind of have hurt. I tend to agree with Steve Dace's assessment. I love Brandyn Hillman, been on this show. We used that, obviously cross-platform to Wolverines Wire, but interviewed him on this show last year. Love Brandyn Hillman. Love me some Brandyn Hillman. Have had some fun moments with Brandyn Hillman. But I agree with Steve Dace's tweet that he put out there when he said, let's be honest, when you heard the line from Kyle Whittingham, you will become us, we will not become you. Like at that moment you thought of Brandyn Hillman, yeah, I kind of did. I'm not lying. There's a couple others that I've thought of just as much. But definitely did. So that one's not surprising, but at the same time, guys kind of sticking around. I think not having a spring portal maybe changes a little bit of the calculus, because here's the thing with some of this. Guys you can test the waters, right? Especially because now they don't know whether or not they like the Whittingham staff or not per se. They might not. And it's not like, I can go through spring ball and then if I'm not happy, then I can jump in the portal then or whatever. But you can also find out what you're worth and see if Michigan's willing to match what another team's able to match. So that's where I kind of don't necessarily I don't think you should look at these transfer portal entries as they are gone for sure. It's kind of more they have entered a different stage of negotiations. And some, Michigan might say, okay, bye to, but we've already seen some that's not the case. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like there's been some rumors that Jordan Young could come back. I'll be interested to see that they're working hard. I think that's one that you definitely want to get back. That's because he could be a very seasoned guy upon returning here. If they're able to retain him. But there are others that maybe you're like, okay, bye. And one I'm interested in is TJ Metcalf entered. And why that surprises me to some degree is because his brother hasn't. Now, that kind of, just to read the tea leaves, I haven't talked to anyone since this new administration. Well, let me reframe. I haven't talked to anyone other than colleagues since the post game of the Citrus Bowl. Just to be clear. So to some of this, I'm going off of others' intel that they have willingly shared with me, knowing that I'll talk about some of these things on the show or the Discord or whatever. But some of it's like, okay, like just let's come to understand what this is. So when TJ Metcalf enters, but his brother doesn't, considering they've been a package deal before, you kind of wonder, is that just part of the negotiation process? And we'll see. So I think that, like the numbers are getting thin on the defensive backfield, which isn't great. But there's been some good things that have happened in the portal as well. And there's things that continue to look like they're going to escalate in a positive way. So let's get to some of those things here in just a moment.
But before we do, the college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game day of the playoffs, because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get the profit boost on the bets that you already feel good about. Ride with the favorite when you think a team controls the matchup. Take the shot on the underdog if you feel an upset is coming, or build a parlay around the players and moments you think will decide the game. Then you apply profit boost and go with even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. Got one more game left, guys. FanDuel is the best place to get in the action all playoff long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boost every game day.
All right, we are on the road back to Fentonia. It's a little bit less than it was leaving Ann Arbor, but lots of snow came down. Kind of a beautiful monochromatic landscape. I'm not gonna lie, it feels very. I kind of love it. Like, as much as someone that has grown up hating the snow, I kind of don't mind the snow too much now. Even like you would think after moving to California, living in California for some time, it'd be a little bit different. So anyway, we'll start off with this. Literally, as I open my phone, I've seen this a couple times. Michigan is considered the favorite for Jaime Ffrench, the former 4-star recruit wide receiver who ended up at Texas for 1 year, behind all kinds of guys there. Sounds like is the only reason why he had one catch. So that, I think that could bode really well. I think that's a decent, like if you're not getting Quincy Porter, which earlier discussions that I had with a couple different colleagues indicated Quincy Porter is going to be in the mix. But then if you were in the Discord, right? Like I said that. And then I came back about an hour later. I'm like, actually, now it kind of sounds like they've moved on from that. Jaime Ffrench is kind of the one that is being targeted. Good friends with both Bryce as well as Andrew Marsh. Like, that's what you want, right? Like, camaraderie. And you want a mixture of camaraderie and accountability. So he is making his way up. I believe the intention was for him to get in earlier, and 2 different colleagues had told me that his flight was delayed, was due in around 4 p.m. today. So he's been, if that's the case, maybe just now getting out of the airport and seeing this winter wonderland that I'm driving through at the moment. So we'll see how a Florida native who was in Texas for a year, see how he handles the change in elements and everything like that. But, yes, it would be great to get one over on Ohio State with Quincy Porter. Was great as a recruit. But honestly, Jaime Ffrench, even though he didn't finish as a 5-star, was a guy that he was looked at as that type of prospect. And honestly, Michigan wasn't even really it never felt like they were in the conversation. It was it was Texas and it was Oregon, I know for sure. And I can't remember, it was some others that were the ones where it's he'll never consider Michigan. So it's kind of that's kind of the weird good thing that can happen with the transfer portal. So that's going to be interesting to see. Since we've last talked, I believe Michigan's also gotten 2 commitments. One from John Henry Daly, the edge rusher. Now he's coming off of what sounds to be a torn Achilles, so it doesn't sound like he's going to be ready to go until June at the earliest. But number 2 edge rusher, according to PFF, in the country. So if you can get him back to health, and that is an if you can get him back to where he's feeling even remotely like himself, that's a massive win. And then Jonah Leahy, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyone who is Polynesian can update me on that. Started every game for Utah last year, was very solid. That at least gives you, so now you at least have him and Trey Pierce, maybe David Pale, Benny Patterson, is Travis Milton ready to go, right? Could a Ted Hammond or someone like that, could they end up being someone in there? Obviously, there's numbers that they still need to fill, both with the defensive line and now maybe defensive backfield. But if you get Jaime Ffrench, I think you're mostly good. As far as you still have Channing Goodwin. But here's the thing: every time I say this, one of these guys is going to enter the portal because that's what's happening. So right now, everything looks positive. In far as the trajectory that Michigan's going, then if you add J.J. Buchanan, which I believe there are predictions that will happen as well, the tight end who's a little bit more of a wide receiver. I mean, I think that you're cooking with gas. Michigan is in a place right now with a transfer portal. I know people want to see more and they want to see the big names and whatever like that. Justice Haynes was a big name last year. And obviously, since we've talked, Justice Haynes is entered the transfer portal. Looks like he's going to Georgia Tech. I had heard after I think we had last talked that that's kind of a little bit more about being able to retain also what you have. Getting Taylor Tatum, I think, is a decent replacement, and that way you can thrust Jordan Marshall into the lead role that he started to be in. Got Taylor Tatum as not an experienced backup because he only had 1 year and it didn't go great. 2 years, sorry. 1 year went fine, second year didn't because of injuries. And then you have Savion Hyder coming in. So the management of that room, that's important, right? Don't want to get too much into necessarily we've got so many guys that we don't know who to play, right? That's not necessarily a smart place to be either. But I think that there's just a lot to like about what they're doing transfer portal wise. I think the big thing then is, will it end up being Rasheem Biles at linebacker, who early indications were that he was going to commit to Michigan? It was enough where I was on the verge of doing a pre-write. And then I was told, hey, hold off. He's going to Texas. We'll see how that goes. I wouldn't worry too much about those things, especially with Cade Uluwave, or how you ever say it, the Cal linebacker. I think Biles is the guy that you really want. Texas feels like they missed out a little bit on they thought they were getting Sprague and Guarnera. Didn't work out that way. So they might pull all of the punches to try to ensure that they get a guy over Michigan after kind of that, and potentially losing Ffrench to Michigan as well. But we'll see. I think that either is a good option, and either could be, particularly Biles, I think would be an upgrade on what Cole Sullivan would provide. And that there aren't many that I would say that about. So I think they're in a mostly good spot right now. And I think that the retention of most of the talent you want, right? Like there's more in the portal now that you were hoping to retain, but it's not a lot more, right? So we'll see. All right, that's going to do it for us on the drive home. We're a little more than halfway. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I can't not do the Grand Tour Jeremy Clarkson exit if I'm in the car, right? I can't not do it. So on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. We'll talk to you again next week. Peace.